Little Miss Recap contains adult language and is intended for entertainment purposes only. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Little Miss Recap. My name's Amy.
And I'm Becca.
Hi, Becca.
Hi, I've missed you. How are you?
I've missed the shit out of you. I've missed Cowboy Corner.
Cowboy Corner. Oh, take me back.
I watched all of Liam Man and couldn't really talk about it with you.
I know. We talked on the side, but
a little bit.
No one got to hear our opinions.
I'm this close to just starting a cowboy channel.
Sign me up.
Yeah.
Woohoo. I actually thought about going to the rodeo.
Ooh.
And it comes around my birthday. So
when's your birthday?
My birthday is 10/10. October 10th.
Right. You're an October Libra. That's
I'm
right.
An October Libra. Yes.
Trying to say that without too much, judgment.
Well, you are a September Libra, so I could see why.
There's only like 9 days of September Libras. It's very precious.
And they have you feel a little higher on the Libra hierarchy.
A little bit. So we are here to talk about Love is Blind, and we are going to do this in 2 episodes because there's so much. We are covering, just to be very clear, we're covering episodes 1 through 6, and we're going to break them down by couple. So if you have not watched episodes 1 through 6, shut this off.
Turn it off. Turn it off.
You're not going to want to hear spoilers, and we're going to have them.
Yes.
And let me tell you something. I think I have turned taking notes on Love is Blind into an art form.
I have 32 pages of notes.
Oh my God. Shut up. It's way more than I have, and I'm leading.
But it's because I can type and watch, and so I just
you don't have to look at your keyboard to type.
No, I have really good typing. I have really good typing skills.
I am a disappointment to my generation that I can't fucking type without looking at the keys.
But I don't hold the keys in proper form. Like I don't think I'm.
You don't do the SDF.
Yeah, I have my own.
Okay, well, yeah.
I
don't hold my hands anywhere. I just kind of wing it. So like things don't come out right.
And then I don't read it till I've done the whole notes. And then sometimes I'll go back and I'm like, wait, what were you saying here, Rebecca?
Okay. Yeah. Well, I have 10 pages. Okay. But the way I take the notes is I watch all 6 episodes on like 1.5 speed. Get through. So then okay, these are our 5 or 6 core couples.
Yeah.
And then I go back. I literally start with episode 6, watch it. Then go episode 5, watch it. Episode 4, watch it. I watch it backwards.
That's interesting.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah, that is very weird. I sit and watch it and take notes. And sometimes I have to pause, I rewind, I have to, I'm taking my notes. And then after I've watched the whole thing, I turn it on when I'm working from home.
Okay.
And I re-watch it while it's just kind of playing.
Okay.
And then I read my notes before we podcast.
I understand. Yeah. Well, I haven't looked at these notes in 2 days, so I hope I'm not
making shit up.
Cold. Okay. So the first thing I want to talk about, this is season 8, episodes 1 through 6 of Love is Blind. The first thing I need to talk about is, can we appreciate REO Speedwagon? I Can't Fight This Feeling.
Can we appreciate the budget that went into the music this season?
Mad About You, Belinda Carlisle. I'm loving this soundtrack.
Yeah. Every time in my notes, in caps, I'm like, they're playing real music. They're playing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And this is Kinetic Content, the same company that does Married at First Sight, that gives us stuff like, I never thought you were a liar. You lied to my face. It's like, what? I don't know. Timmy heard this podcast like a while ago. Not this podcast, podcast, where they were talking about how much it costs shows to have music.
Oh, I bet.
Whenever we hear a real song, he's always stunned.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's always like, oh my God. But I have a particular love of REO Speedwagon.
Do you?
I Can't Fight This Feeling. Because I remember watching the video as a kid.
Yeah.
I was obsessed with it. I was obsessed with REO Speedwagon and Huey Lewis in the News.
Huey, I can't think of a Huey Lewis in the News song, but I can totally picture him. He's local here.
I gotta know.
Yes.
If
I can
this
picture the
ain't
video.
love.
Yes.
Yeah. I loved him.
Aw.
I
I
loved
miss
him.
videos.
I miss videos too.
Yeah.
All right. So
Okay.
let's start with Joey and Monica. These guys are the classic. They're in the Lauren Cameron slot.
Yeah.
They are the ones who did it right. They're the ones who do it first.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see what happens if they can keep up. Because Monica and Steven of Love is Blind UK had this slot as well, and they fucked it all up because he was terrible, apparently.
But last season in DC, the first couple that met is Taylor and glow up guy.
Oh,
Can't
cute
think
little
of
boy.
Garrett.
What was Garrett? Garrett and Taylor. And they did well.
They did well.
Yeah.
And Cameron and Lauren, they were the first couple to meet.
They're great.
I can't think of any other seasons, even though I watched them.
I can't either. It's all blending in together. Okay, so Joey and Monica. So we'll start at the beginning with them. Joey says people call him a golden retriever. Now he is, let me give his stats here. He is 35. He's a physician's assistant. Monica's 28 and a digital marketer. Yeah, it's a good age. That's when I got married. No, I met Timmy when I was 28. I got married when I was 29.
That's when I was getting divorced.
Yeah, I got divorced the first time at 25. So there we go. So they have a good first date where they seem to laugh a lot. They have a similar sense of humor. He swing dances, so does she.
So, okay, as a Californian, I didn't really do a lot of swing dancing. And I was amazed that they both were in swing dancing. And I think she was in swing dancing competitions. And so I had to Google swing dancing.
Oh, what it is?
No, swing dancing in Minnesota.
Oh.
You know that swing dancing is the official state dance of Minnesota?
What is the state dance of Pennsylvania?
Oh, I didn't Google that one.
Oh, I need to look this up. I bet it's polka.
Oh, because of the large Polish community?
Because of Lawrence Welk. What is the state dance of Pennsylvania? I didn't know states had a state dance. Yeah, it's the Pennsylvania polka.
Oh, fun.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I'm not doing that. Don't you remember the Gap commercial in the early aughts with the swing dancing? And that's when it kind of came back for a little bit.
Yes. And it was kind of there was a few songs playing on the radio that had that vibe. Yes.
Yep. So her dad is from Chile and she goes down there quite a bit and he flips houses with his dad. He has a lot of sisters. Okay, now I have a question for you. And this is going to sound super judgmental and I don't mean it that way.
Go ahead.
Why does everyone seem to have a tragic backstory? Like, does everybody just have a tragic backstory?
It does seem there are a lot of sibling tragic backstories on this show.
Do you remember when we were watching, I think it was Love is Blind UK, where all the dads were like, no, it was Washington, D.C., where all the dads were like real problematic.
Yeah. They were kind of like, hate to use this term, but they were kind of like deadbeat dads.
Yeah, they were either absent or just fucking up. But this is right, a lot of sibling trauma happening. So he had 3 sisters, and he still says it, even though one passed away.
Yeah.
And he feels like because he grew up with sisters, he knows women. And I would agree a little bit with that. Because I know people who've never lived with a woman outside of their mother, and it shows. On their first date, I noticed they had the same sense of humor. Like, I forget what they were making fun of, but they were making fun of something together. And I was like, oh, they have like a snark in common with each other. So he says he was such a nerd when he was a kid because he was homeschooled and then he went to public school. And he's talking about like the outfit he showed up in was like ridiculous. And he says he joined the football team and that really saved him.
He got a lot of D1 offers.
Yes, he got quite a few of them and he turned them down because I guess his parents got divorced and he wanted to take care of his sister, which I thought was super sweet.
Yeah, both his sister and his mom. And his mom is real naive. And he kind of mentions that when he's talking to Monica. And he my mom's not dumb, but she's very naive and people can take advantage of her.
Then he says, and I thought this was super hot.
Oh, I know what you're going to say.
That he's financially like prepared to take this on. I want to use the word fiduciary, but I don't know if it applies. I just like that word.
It sounds fancy. I like it.
He is financially responsible. He is a saver.
Mm-hmm.
He has set up he paid for his own college. He bought his first property at 27. He has
Yes.
set up a retirement fund for his mother. Why are my children not working on this?
I wanted to sit my sons down and have them just watch that one section. This 20-something-year-old man has
Yeah.
started a 401k for his mother, who probably has never worked, I'm going to assume. 'Cause
Oh, maybe.
she's old.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
what a babe. What a babe.
What a babe.
Yeah.
So Joey proposes in episode 2. They have a great reveal. Mad About You is playing by Belinda Carlisle.
Yes.
I think they're into each other.
I do. She loves his hair because he
Mhm.
has this long, he has really great hair.
Was it a little bit of a mullet?
Yeah, I think because he doesn't know how to do anything with it, so he's literally just letting it grow.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
I don't know. I love Joey. I can
love
make any
him too.
excuse in the book
I
for
love
this
him
guy.
too.
I love when he walked back in after they got engaged and everybody was cheering and you could hear him from the girls' quarters. I loved it.
I
Yeah.
love when they show us those things. Like when you
Yes.
see them in the hallway and you hear the cheering and
Mhm.
I don't need Nick and Vanessa at all. They were only in
No.
the intro episode, but like what purpose are they? Does this show Here's a bigger question. Does this show need a host?
No, it does not. Because everything that we find out in that little 5-10 minute conversation that Nick and Vanessa have, we can find out in their one-on-ones and in the pods. We don't need those little conversations.
I think Netflix could save themselves a lot of money if they just hire them as the host of the tell-all. That's it.
And do we even need them to
Maybe
host the
we don't.
tell-all?
I mean, we don't want a Sean Robbins situation though.
No.
Or a Suki.
At least it feels like at the tell-all that Vanessa has at least watched the show.
Can we have Kenny and Armando host this tell-all too?
Can they just do everything?
Okay, so let's move to Devin, Virginia, and Brittany. Devin's hot. Devin's hot.
I do. I think he's so cute.
He's
I like
so
him.
cute.
Yes.
Okay, so let me give you their stats here. I don't have Brittany's. I'll find hers.
35 account executive.
Thank you. Virginia is 34. She's a healthcare recruiter. And Devin is 29 and he's a youth director. And he's like a coach. Yeah. He does good things for the community.
He's like a community guy.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
So Brittany and Devin bond immediately over basketball on their first date. Apparently she is a baller. He is as well. Literally, he is as well. They love it. Brittany wants kids. She loves kids. She's older than him and she asks him if he's okay with that. And he says yes. He's dated older women before. When he meets Virginia, she's also older. And they discover that they went to the same high school, but you know, she graduated like 6 years before he did.
Yeah, it's pretty cute.
Now, I have a question for you because she tells him that she has a doctorate. Great. But then she drops the tidbit that she used to dance for the NBA. Now, Becca, I am about 50 pounds overweight and I'm being pretty generous. Okay.
No.
When you picture people who dance for the NBA, would you think a little meatball like me is dancing for the NBA? No. There's a certain type of person who is able to dance for the NBA. This is not it. So I think it conjures up a certain image, if you will.
Yes. And he also, by knowing that Brittany played basketball, otherwise known as B-Dot, because they tell her nicknames. I love
You're right.
He also kind of knew, okay, she's probably in shape. She's probably tall. Yes. He had an idea of what these two women looked like. Yes. Maybe not down, but he had a visualization of what the body type was.
Not as much as Daniel had an idea of what Taylor looked like. But he has some semblance of, I agree. Yeah. And I blame her for dropping that tidbit.
She knew what she was doing.
She says she also used to be in a singing group in high school called Future Destiny's Child. And I just want to say something. I was in many bands in middle school where I got myself a bass guitar one year and decided that I could play 3 notes on it.
Nice.
And we were trying to be in a band and it was real bad. I don't even know if we got far enough to have a name. It was just so bad. So I enjoy that they called themselves Future Destiny's Child. I'm like, this is great.
They're manifesting it.
They were. So
And she said she wasn't the singer, she was just the dancer. She was the dancer of the group.
So Devin and Virginia talk about the types they usually date. And she says she has never dated a nice guy before.
Mhm.
And she feels that he is very kind. And he says he usually goes for sporty. And she's a dancer. And he says that's a sport. Because
Yeah,
she
and
kind of says she's not sporty. And he's like, yes, it is.
And she appreciated that. She like said thank you. Like she loved that he looked at her dancing as a sport.
Yeah, and it is very athletic to be a
Mhm.
dancer. Especially, are they whipping you around in the NBA
I don't
like
think
they
in
do
the
for
NBA.
football?
No, it's pure like just like hip hop dancing, dance routines.
Okay, got you. So their big moment, Devin's big moment with both of these women, comes in
Mhm.
episode 4. He confides in both of them that he had a back injury while playing basketball. And the story, it's a little vague, but my interpretation of it is that he was abusing pain medication for this
I don't think
injury.
it was ibuprofen. Yeah.
I don't think it was either. But
I think it was something different.
I
Yeah.
mean, this was very common.
Mhm.
Doctors were
It happened
handing
to
this stuff out
anyone.
like candy. Yep. So I don't judge him at all. And I don't think either one of them do.
No.
And he also says he was very depressed. And he said, it got real bad. And he kind of turned to God and
Yeah.
felt that he needed to go to the doctor like one more time, kind of like
Yeah.
a literal Hail Mary situation.
Yeah.
And it turned out that he needed surgery on his hips.
Yeah, his hip bones were rubbing or something was rubbing on his hip bone, right?
They named a bone
Yeah.
and they completely lost me.
Yeah.
Femur? I don't know.
Mm.
So he says, God told him to do this and it brought him closer to God. And he says he's very ashamed, but he's happy where he is today. And Brittany is great. She's
Yes.
sobbing, first of all, while he's telling her this. And she says, we all go through things. There is no need to be ashamed. We all
Yeah.
go through things where we need God to help us. And, so she's very touched by this. And this, now keep in mind, put a pin in that she responds
Ding.
very well to him.
Mhm.
So now she decides, well, okay, we're in a moment of vulnerability here, and I'm going to talk a little bit about something that I feel a little shame around, even though I shouldn't.
Yep.
And she says, okay, well, I'm a little ashamed of my sexuality. And I know I
Mhm.
shouldn't be, but I am. And she says she began dating some women, one woman in particular, she was in a relationship with, and this woman wanted a lot more. She wanted to marry her. And Brittany says, when I see myself, and I totally get this, like when you look at yourself in the future,
Yeah.
she's like, I see it with a husband, not another woman. Fine.
And while she's telling this story, on the other side of the wall, Devin is not being as
Empathetic?
his body language changes. It's like a full stop. He's stopped and he is listening.
Yeah.
And to me, watching it, I didn't feel the emotion that she was giving him. He was not giving back.
I totally agree. Totally agree. And so she says, I've had a few. He says, did you just have that one experience? And she said, well, I've had a few experiences. She says, I really don't like labels, but I just know that I don't want to marry a woman. Like I want to marry a man.
Yeah.
He stumbles with this. And
He has a problem with it.
he says, I've never been with someone who dated both. And she says, I wish you had a better response.
Yeah. And in that moment, she felt it. Like,
yeah.
Argh.
In that
and
moment, it was sealed.
Yeah.
For her.
And I know she wished she had taken it back.
Yeah, but
like
I'm glad she found this out now.
Yeah. And I'm glad that she was brave enough to say that on national television, knowing this could be aired in any shape, way, form, edited. No, he was judging her. And when he was so happy that she took in his his deepest, darkest secret, and she didn't judge him.
Yep.
And then he had the balls to turn around and judge her.
Yep.
Ugh,
Yep.
typical.
Hey everyone, stay tuned. Little Miss Recap will be right back after these words. So he says, look, I'm just caught off guard a little bit and I'm processing. And here's the thing. I have children, you have children.
Mhm.
Of not of this generation, but well, I don't know. Are these guys? They might be. They might be Zers.
Yeah, Devin's on the younger side of all the
I
people.
just feel like sexuality as a spectrum is such a common thing in this generation. I was very
Yes.
surprised. But then I remembered this is the Midwest. It might not be as this particular area where they are might not be as progressive as other
Yeah.
areas. I don't know. Full disclosure, I've never lived in the Midwest. I have no idea what
Same.
it's like, so I can't speak to the the openness of whatever. But are
Yeah.
they in a big city? Are they in Minneapolis?
Well, I do know that Daniel
Mhm.
mentions he's in St. Paul, and
Which
to
is a
me,
pretty big city, right?
St. Paul seems,
Yeah.
in my mind, St. Paul seems like one of their bigger
Yeah.
cities. I'm not too familiar with Minnesota geography,
Yeah.
but it does seem to be
How
that
dare
there
you?
is I barely know California geography. There does seem to be an aspect of God, any shape, form of God
Mhm.
running through most of these people and most of these couples.
I mean, and in full transparency, I live in Pennsylvania and I am in a rural area of Pennsylvania, and it would be the same way. Like this
Yeah.
would not probably be well received in this area.
And
So I get
I
it.
I am blinded by these kind of conversations sometimes with blinders because I
Mhm.
grew up in San Francisco
Mhm.
and sexuality has always been so fluid in
Yeah.
my area, in my realm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he in the headquarters, Brittany's telling the story and she
Yeah.
says like his response wasn't great, and Virginia's kind of like, I'm staying out of this.
Yeah.
Not getting into it.
I kind of liked it. She said, their relationship is not my business.
Yeah, I agree with
Yeah.
that. That's kind of how you have to go into this.
You know what's something I noticed this season? And maybe they did it in other seasons and I didn't notice. When they're in their quarters and when they are talking about who they are dating, they're not really using a lot of names.
I agree.
And that seems to be new this season.
I think they've learned from
Yeah.
watching the past seasons, and we're
Mhm.
seeing the natural evolution of the gameplay,
Yes.
and that's part of it.
Yeah.
So, he tells Virginia the story now, Devin does, and she has a similarly emotional response. It's not as emotional as Brittany, but it's perfectly acceptable response. She's good with
Yes.
it. And she says she wants a partner to pray with her, and she thinks he is inspiring, and she thinks he's fantastic.
Mhm.
So later we see a breakup between Brittany and Devin, and it is one of the nicest breakups I've ever seen on the show. Aside from who was the good breakup in UK? It was Nicole and
I can't remember
the guy with the
any of
long
their
red hair
names.
who's running
Oh,
around all
yeah.
over the place, and I love him so
Oh.
much.
Mhm.
Yeah, I forget his name. Anyway,
I forget their names right after the show. I got to make space for new names. But I think she walked in that room knowing it was probably going to be the last date that they had.
Nicole
I
and
think she
Benaya. Yeah, rolls right off the tongue.
Yeah.
You think so? You think she came into the room what?
I think Brittany knew that it was going to be the breakup.
Yeah.
I don't think I think she knew in her heart. Yeah.
So she's kind of the one to initiate it. And she says he's a little more rigid than she would like. And she says, and they're talking it through a little bit. And he's like, yeah, I agree, blah, blah, blah. And then finally she says, I just don't think we are each other's people.
Yeah.
And he agrees. And he's like, you're so great. And I hope we could be friends. It's a really good.
It really is so
breakup.
sweet.
It's
the best kind of breakup you'd want in this situation.
Yeah. And then Brittany even says, I think I know who your other one is. And she's fantastic.
Yeah.
I thought that was very sweet. So later they're giving Virginia and Devin. Now we're down to Virginia and Devin. They're giving each other gifts. And she gives him her grandmother's diamond ring.
Mm-hmm.
Why would she give him?
Well, because that's the ring she wants him to propose to her with.
Would you ever give a stranger your grandmother's diamond ring?
No.
I mean,
I don't even know if I'd want to use my grandmother's diamond ring as my own engagement ring. Like,
my kids are
yeah.
begging me. I have 2 or 3 rings from my grandmother who
Hmm.
her diamond, you need a magnifying glass even to see it.
Yeah.
And they're begging me to wear these rings. And I'm like, no.
No, you'll lose them.
No.
Yeah.
So he gives her a necklace with his initial on it. And then he proposes. Okay. So the reveal.
Mm-hmm.
She is on this short pink dress. She looks amazing.
She does.
She's stunning. I think she's one of the most beautiful women of the season.
I think she's very pretty. But there is a reservedness. I think, yeah.
Okay, so what do you think of their reveal? Because I thought it was okay. You think that there was some reservation?
So here's my thing, and I think this is something that Devin says a few times in the room with her in the pods. What has she given him about who she is?
We haven't seen much.
Like, what about her does Devin love besides that he knows that she was an NBA dancer?
We have not seen much.
That's my question. That's just how I feel about the situation.
I agree. And I feel like there's a story here, but it will be in the later episodes because there's not much of a story here with them.
No. And I think that's if I'm a betting gal, I think that's where their storyline is going to go.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So let's move on to our final couple of this episode of our coverage, which is going to be Dave, Lauren, and Molly. Now, remember I told you that I was keeping a note on my phone of my very first impressions of these people from episode 1. Here's what I have written. Dave is a total douchebag.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you lead with the fact that you used to be obsessed with looks and you're materialistic? Like, what is the play there? And then I wrote, I really like Joey and Monica. I like Madison a lot. What's going on with Megan? She listened to Joe Rogan. Now she thinks the weather is controllable. Those are all my notes. Then I got lazy and stopped taking them.
Oh,
but tell me about Dave. Why? I wrote, here's my opening line for him. Dave is winning hearts and minds by telling women he's vain and he's surrounded by perfect looking women all day in his career.
And then his every line of what would he say when every girl came in? Like, what are you doing here? Like, he had such an aggressive,
I have
negative.
an OnlyFans. Oh, no, I really don't. This man screams insecurity. It's just giving off insecurity. And he is telling women that he works around. So he's how do you say that word? Esthetician?
He's an esthetician sales.
I think so. I think he works around Botox and stuff like that.
Yes.
And he tells women that to knock them down before he even has a conversation with them. I'm going to make sure you are lowered so that we can start from an equal footing. That's what he does.
100%.
Because there's no way that doesn't sit in your mind.
No. I put in my first impression of him, don't trust him.
Yeah. ...
Douche. And I know it's because he's in sales, and sales guys have a spiel about him that I'm already like a little.
But he's no Roger Sterling.
No.
So he connects with Lauren first, and she says that she quit teaching because it pays shit. I get that. Let me give her stats. So she is 31 and she's in educational sales. And Dave is 33 and he calls himself a medical device salesperson. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't have Molly. Do you have her age and her?
Molly, 29, and she is, I just put gives off big personality. Well, I think she's an executive assistant.
Okay, because I don't think gives off big personality is her actual career title because
I put gives off big personality, larger than life, annoying, never been in a committed relationship, but lets us know she's not a virgin.
I got her. She's an executive assistant. You're right.
Okay.
So Lauren, again, now she's transitioned probably during the pandemic
Yeah, I
out
think
of
she mentions
teaching
that, yeah.
into educational sales. He tells her, Becca, that he used to be a very shallow person.
Used to
And
be?
it's not working for him. So he's trying something new. Again, he is not a dumb man. Would you agree he's
No.
not dumb?
No, he's very smart.
He is not like, it's not like me being in this situation being like, oh, I used to be da 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 da, because I would be an idiot. He is smart. He knows what he's
Mhm.
doing. And he is
Mhm.
telling this to these women to plant that seed of insecurity and doubt in their minds.
Yep.
So
100%.
then he connects with Molly. Molly's his other connection. And she says she's never had a serious boyfriend. She could have one if she wants, but no thanks. Becca, is this how beautiful people act in the world? Because I don't know this form of what's happening.
I don't know. Like, some of the things these people say, I'm like, "No, people don't walk around like this."
Like, we're doing the Mad Men rewatch, obviously.
Yeah.
And I'm always saying to Timmy, like, what is it like to just walk through the world as John Hamm
Yeah.
or as Don Draper? And like, just everybody who talks to you wants to sleep with you. I will never know that world. What is that world?
So I do live in a delusional world because of the way I was raised, that everyone does think that I'm the fun. Like, this is something I've worked on my whole life, but I was raised knowing that everyone thinks I'm the funniest, the smartest, the
Okay.
best looking person that walks in the
Okay,
room.
I understand.
So I sometimes I do kind of think that when I walk into a room, like, yeah,
So do you think
everyone could love me, but I don't want them to.
do you think that Molly, do you think it's a front, or do you think she really believes this?
I think sometimes it's a fake it till you make it.
Okay, I can
Like,
see
you
that.
say it so many times,
Mhm.
and I think that's what happened with me. It was told to me so many times
Mhm.
that it has projected into my personality.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I get you.
but I also think she's a redhead, and I love you redheads listening, but redheads, and my sister's a redhead, have a vibe to them, and she has a redhead vibe.
Redheads. Okay, I'm just gonna say this. Redheads are some of the most beautiful people I've ever seen. Like,
And
what?
you are attracted to
Yes,
them.
you're
Yes,
attracted to them. I
yes,
totally agree. More so redheaded women, but I don't know. She's very attractive. Yeah.
yes. And there's something that even though I don't really like her personality that much, I do kinda like Molly.
Yeah, you're drawn to her.
Yeah, it's that red hair.
So Lauren and Dave's families both have lake houses. So now we're back to
Mhm.
Lauren. And Lauren went to Mexico and got a "fuck the patriarchy" tattoo. And he's like, oh yeah, you're a party girl. You're a little bit of a party girl. I don't know why I'm going into Cody Brown, but whatever.
I
Love
love
it.
that she has some quote along when he's like, "Wow, I thought you were a good girl." And she goes, "I don't want people just to think I'm good. I want them to think I'm kind." Like, it's like, "No, you're a good girl, Lauren.
Yes.
Lauren is a good girl."
Yes. And that's okay.
Yeah.
So they talk about playlists, and he's like, I have a sex playlist. Of course you do.
Gross.
You know who he reminds me of? Did you used to watch Nip Tuck?
Oh, I love Nip
He
Tuck.
has a Christian vibe to him.
Uh-huh.
Christian the character.
That you just hit it on the nail, 100%.
Yes.
Yes, he does. It's
Yep.
like his son.
Yes. Long lost son.
Yes.
So she's like, Lauren's like, can we not do that with the sex playlist? Like, can we change it up when I come
Yeah.
in? And she wants to open, this is the best part, because she's like, me and my sister want to open up a little bookstore where like there will be poetry readings and stuff. And he's like, yeah, in a bar? No, what do you do? What?
She's like, well, a bookstore.
Have you never seen You, the show You? Which reminded of that Laura Ingraham thing. Did you ever see that?
What?
Where one of the
Laura
Laura Ingraham, who's a host on Fox.
Yes. Blonde hair.
Somebody else, a gentleman on Fox, is saying to her, it was on the show You. And she's like, what? I didn't have a show about that.
Oh, I do. Yeah. Dude, I've seen that on the internet.
I can't say the word, or I can't talk about that show without thinking about that. So he doesn't know who Cat Stevens is, which I cannot judge. I now can no longer judge anyone since the Kendrick Lamar debacle.
Yeah, I was kind of embarrassed.
You should have been for me. So in the headquarters, Molly tells the girls that she is dating Dave. She doesn't know that Lauren's the other girl. She thinks the other girl is Sarah, but it's not.
No.
So she's kind of saying this right in front of Lauren. And Lauren's like, ugh.
Yeah.
He tells, who does he tell this to? I don't know who. Oh, I think it's Molly. Yeah, it's Molly. He says he has a typical white dude raising. That's his words. He says Catholic boy, strong childhood, but his mom passed away 6 years ago. She had stage 4 breast cancer, but she did live 10 years with it, which is a long time.
That's long.
Yeah. Mom was hard on him about having integrity.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now I want to say something. I have been my parents' child for 48 years.
Mm-hmm.
Never once did my parents have to say to me, you need to have more integrity.
No,
never once.
Never.
Once. That is an alarm bell. That is a red flag for me. If somebody's mother has to say to them, have a little more integrity.
And I've hit some rock bottom and thought like, man,
Sure.
Rebecca, you're a real BITCH, or wow, you're real this, or like these things are true. I've never once said, man, Rebecca, you need to have more integrity.
Right.
Like,
right.
That's and when he said it, they flip to Molly and it stops her.
Yeah.
And it's a beige flag that she pins. You can tell it sticks in her head.
Yes, I agree. They talk about how they both have videos of their parents dancing on their phones. Molly tells the camera, I'm so hot. People are always like, how have you never had a boyfriend? Look at you. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Now,
that's just good.
There's a common theme throughout Dave's interactions with both women. And that is in episode 1, he tells Lauren he has an older sister who acts like his mom. And we hear this older sister thing. And this explains something to me because he is so terrified of how his older sister is going to receive whatever decision he makes in these pods. I think his desire to take women down, to sweep their knees out from them immediately, or their grounding out from under them, is a result of his sister.
100%.
Yeah.
Yes. In fact, I'm looking at my notes right now in all caps, bolded. I don't think David should be on this show. He is sobbing because he isn't sure his sister is going to be supportive of him getting engaged / married.
Yeah.
Question mark.
Yeah. Yep.
There's something going on.
Dave and Molly seem to have a very surface level connection, in my opinion. Like they both just generically say, we like to have fun. Who doesn't like to have fun? Who's like, I like to sit around and kind of.
Who says, I just like to sit around and watch TV?
We learn that Dave has a side business, medical distribute. I'm like, is he selling weed? Is he a grower on the side? That felt like that to me.
Oh, I thought he's probably selling medical data on the side.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
So he wants to have 5 to 6 businesses. He doesn't like to be told what to do. He fucked off through college. Same. He even scammed his precious honors English teacher. How dare you? Oh, God. He faked reading the Scarlet Letter. Who fakes reading the Scarlet Letter? The Scarlet Letter is a wonderful book.
If more men would read the Scarlet Letter, maybe we wouldn't be where we are today.
Dave needs to read the Scarlet Letter.
But he admits to Lauren that it seems like he might have a reading problem.
Yeah, he says that he can't comprehend well. And she says, well, I was a reading teacher. We can work on that.
Yeah,
it's very sweet. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Dave also says he cheated on someone in the past, but, and when I won't cheat now, but when I go to bachelor parties and like Vegas and stuff, women are going to be coming up to me because,
Is this where he starts to mention getting their phones back? And is he the one that has to mention?
I think so. Well, I don't know what he says. Do you remember?
Getting, what are you going to, like, when you get your phone back, is there anything you have to delete? Like, what is, ew, I don't even want to see Dave's phone.
Ugh, no.
I feel like I would get the cooties from it.
It's probably crusted. Hey everyone, stay tuned. Little Miss Recap will be right back after these words. So Molly and Dave have a date in episode 4, and they talk about how Dave asked women, "What's wrong with you?"
Oh, I hated that opening line.
And he says, I hope women know it was a joke. And Molly's kind of like, well, not every woman did.
No. She's like, they were all talking about you in the quarters.
If I went into the pod and somebody said, "Why are you on the show? What's wrong with you?" I would turn around and walk right out.
Walk right out. You are not for me. No, thank you.
No, because what I'm hearing, and this might be my own insecurities projected on this, what I'm hearing is, why aren't you good looking enough to get a date?
I hear you're a loser. What you're a loser.
Yeah.
And not even thinking they're here too.
Right. I'm telling you, he is an underminer from the beginning. Undermine.
Well, and I find him to be, and we'll find more of this out in a minute. He's a manipulator. He's a manipulator. Yeah. He's a liar. I don't like him. I don't like him
either. So Dave wonders if his dad is holding on to his mother's ring for him since she passed. And Molly says, well, your sister will probably want it. This nightmare of a sister that you're describing sounds like Nellie Olson is his sister. I don't know who the hell his sister is. Is he Willie Olson?
His sister does seem to be a big old meanie.
Right?
She does.
So he tells Molly, you have been my number one since day one. He says he loves that she has not pressured him at all. Now, back in the headquarters, Lauren is getting pissed because Molly's walking around saying, Dave told me I'm his number one, but she doesn't think it's true. It's true, Lauren.
It's true.
It's true.
And in my notes, every time that's referenced, I go back. I'm looking in my notes, going back, copy, paste. He told her, you're my number one.
Yep.
He did.
Yep.
He manipulated her.
Yep. So meanwhile, Molly is telling all the girls that Dave is going to end it with his other match.
Yep.
So now we get Lauren in the pod with Dave, and she's feeling confident about their relationship, but she's like, are you telling Molly? Well, she says your other match. Yeah. Are you telling your other connection? That's what they say, the word connection. Are you telling your other connection and me the same thing? And he says, well, you guys are very similar. And Lauren's kind of like, no, we're really not.
I don't see it at all.
Dave does not like that Molly told Lauren that she was seeing Dave. Because Lauren says, I know who your other match is, because she's running around the headquarters telling her. I call it the headquarters. Listen to me, like it's like Charlie's Angels. It's like Charlie's headquarters.
Headquarters always reminds me of Kate Casey. Because she meant she refers that go out and report back to headquarters, referring to herself.
Yes. So Lauren says, well, I'm just going to be very honest with you right now. You're the only reason I'm here. Dave says he's grateful that Molly is giving him time to make this decision. And Lauren is hurt that he needs this time to make the decision. Now Dave says, I have never said to Molly that I can imagine a proposal, but for you, I can. And he says, I'm kind of worried that I'm reverting back to my old ways and being scared to make a commitment. Lauren is too precious for this man.
No. Yep.
Lauren needs to run.
This is not a match made in heaven.
I have a question too. Since this is kind of, not our first exposure, but we don't see a lot of reality shows where it's strictly a full Midwestern cast, right?
Yeah.
They're all so nice.
They're all so nice. Lauren seems to be the nicest person. She seems very nice.
Very nice and wholesome.
Yes.
Oh, Jesus, except for Dave. Yeah. Okay. So Dave, now Molly, meanwhile, is telling the girls that Dave said he's going to break up with Lauren. Madison tells Lauren what Dave said, that he told Molly that he was going to break up with her. And she's like, what? Lauren she just walked out of the pod where he's saying, I can imagine marrying you. So she's like, what is going on here? And she's telling Monica, I'm not dumb. I'm putting this together. Yeah. Dave, meanwhile, is in the men's quarters crying about what his sister's going to think.
Oh, this guy is a snake. I can't stand him.
I just feel like he has a complicated relationship with women. Based on what's going on with this sister.
Yes. And the mother, the long and the integrity and the mother and the long prolonged illness.
Yep.
He needs therapy, not a girlfriend.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah.
So now we see Dave break up with Molly. And he tells her he's been crying. He's been crying over this. And Molly says, you told me you were going to end it with your other connection. He's like, I never said that. Then he says, well, you know, things just changed when I got in there with her. And this is so fucked up. And Molly says, I'm sorry you're going through it. I'm not here to force anything, though. And Dave says, well, that's what I like about you. And he keeps sniffling. But he is not crying. It is Robin Brown crying adjacent behaviors.
It's just good. He's just me in the 8th grade when I wanted to stay home. I have the sniffles. Yes. No.
Yeah, he's not crying. He says, yeah, like me and Lauren, though, I feel like I do have to see that through. Okay, so he's saying I'm moving out Lauren, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's like, do you feel like you have a stronger emotional connection? He says, yes. And Molly says, then you made your decision, right? And he goes, I hate that it's like that, though. I hate that it's like I make a decision.
He
and Molly
wanted her to break up with him. He didn't want to do it.
Yep. Molly goes, you're allowed to say that. She's comforting him.
Yeah.
He's breaking up with her and she's comforting him.
Oh.
And Dave says, why are you so cool about this? And Molly goes, I just want someone to choose me. And then she goes, so what happens now? And he's like, what? And she goes, I feel like you're trying to make me make this decision and you should make the decision. He goes, I thought I just did.
What a dick. Ugh. And she says, good luck, see ya, and walks right out of that room.
Yep. And she goes right in and talks to Lauren.
Yep.
Molly apologizes to Lauren for saying things in front of her. She's like, I thought it was Sarah. I never would have done that had I known it was you. And Lauren's really sweet with her. Mm-hmm. She's like, I totally get it. Don't worry about it. Not a big deal. And then she tells Lauren, he wants you. And Lauren says, I thought we were both delusional here. And he should not have put us in this position.
No, he should not have.
In the pod, oh my God, I do have a lot of notes. In the pod, Dave tells Lauren that what happened was, Becca, he was afraid of his feelings for her.
Oh God. And he starts going on. Is this where he starts saying this is the first time he's ever had feelings before and womp, womp, womp.
Yeah. Yeah. So she says, I spoke to Molly and she said there were certain promises made.
He did.
And he says, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And she was way too cool with me ending it. So in other words, she didn't throw herself on the ground and start screaming, crying. So she mustn't have loved me.
Yeah.
Dave says he understands how Molly may have gotten confused, but he never said Molly was his number one. Becca, you want to check your notes?
Actually, I wrote, once again, I go back to my notes where I wrote, Dave brings up he's dating someone else, but Molly is his number one. And in all caps, another real song is playing. Ingrid Michaelson, The Way I Am.
That's right. And I love that song.
And then Molly says, I'm confident in my relationship with you, quote unquote.
Yeah.
So who is lying and who's delusional?
He's a liar who lies.
Oh, I can't stand this guy.
Dave tells Lauren he's real scared of his sister.
I'm so
And he doesn't want her to freak out. And he wants her to understand this. He proposes to her on Valentine's Day. And he says, I think I wrote this down right. She has motherly qualities that he's attracted to.
That's the first thing he says. And I wrote that down too. She is mothering and caring.
Yeah, that worries me a little bit.
There is something, I think when he did the pros and the cons, I think Lauren is more sellable to his sister than Molly would be.
And Lauren is more, and I don't mean this as a dig to Lauren. I love her. But he can roll over her.
Yes. And I have a feeling we're going to see Lauren crying a lot in the upcoming episodes.
Yep. Now, he does say at this point that it's been 10 days. So just a little time marker.
Oh, I love that you kept track of that because I kept track of that too.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now their reveal.
Mm-hmm.
She's wearing a hot pink dress. Dave says he has opened up more these past 2 weeks than his entire life. He says, back home, we don't talk about feelings. and he's been so cool his whole life that people have only loved him for his baseball career and for how cool he is. And it's so refreshing that these women are finally getting to know him for who he is on the inside.
And my notes say, I roll, I roll, I roll.
And meanwhile, she's over there telling the camera, like, I'm kind of worried that he said he only dates really hot people.
Mm-hmm. He's going to make her so insecure about herself.
Yep. And she is beautiful.
She's no reason to be. I'm actually scared of who Lauren is going to be at the end of this, because I feel like he's going to be tearing her down.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So he is lukewarm. He's not into her, in my opinion, in the reveal. He's not into her. They're maybe about the same height. He might be an inch bigger.
Yeah, I didn't really. Yeah.
You know me, I'm taking notes on that. The conversation is okay, but not great.
Yeah.
And I wrote, if you have to keep saying this feels comfortable, it might not feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of like, when I get in my bathtub at the end of the night and I'm like, everything's okay. Everything's okay. Everything's okay. It might not be.
I think he made a comment like the realness of this hasn't set into him and they still have a lot to figure out. That's not what I want to hear when someone has just asked me to get married to them and I'm supposed to be the love of their life.
No, ma'am. I agree.
Yeah.
All right. We are going to go into our episode 2 now.
Okay.
So we're going to break. And if you guys are listening, please hop over to part 2 where we're going to talk about the rest of the couples.
See you there.
Bye. Thank you so much for listening to Little Miss Recap. If you'd like to support the show, the best way you can do that is to join our Twin Flame universe, which is our Patreon, Supercast, and Apple subscription feeds. The links for those are in the show notes. You get ad-free episodes and a ton of bonus content. You can also subscribe to the feed so you don't miss an episode, share the show with a friend, and leave a 5-star review. To contact the show, please email me directly at amy@littlemissrecap.com or join our Facebook group Backdoor Friends. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.